Now then, we are in the greenhouse. I have some issues. So I think I know why I've got problems. I've got tomatoes here that have got curling leaves. Now I've been doing some research, like you do. And obviously, this is why I keep saying I'm not an expert. I've been growing tomatoes for a long time, probably about 30 years. But never really had a massive problem with leaf curl. But I have this year. Anyway, I've sussed out why. It's because they're in direct sunlight. Can you believe it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all my tomato plants over from this side to this side of the greenhouse. So here I am again, shuffling. Every day I'm shuffling. So I'll show you what I mean. And it's not going to fix the leaves that have already curled, but the new leaves that grow, then they shouldn't, in theory, grow curly. They shouldn't be. See, for me, this is a different variety than what I'm used to. So the varieties that I normally use, that I've had before, I've not got leaf curl, and I'll show you now so that you can see what I mean. So let me twist you around. Welcome to the jungle. So you see these? Lovely. Great big flat leaves, open up, and they get the most amount of sun, all maximised. Beautiful. These are in the shade. All these don't get direct sunlight because they're against my fence, if you can see out there, the ivy out there. So the sun comes up over there. They might get a tiny little bit, but they don't get very much. Now then, these are in direct sunlight. And can you see how they've curled in? So this is like the plant's mechanism of their like little defense mechanism of protecting themselves because they're too hot. Don't like direct sunlight. Now apparently in the wild, when tomatoes grow in the wild, they grow in sheltered areas. Hot but sheltered. They don't grow, they grow like under trees in dappled areas, and they get dappled sunlight. So they have to search. So this is why they sort of spread out and they grow side shoots and all the rest of it, looking for that sunlight, but they don't live in direct sunlight. So I'm not going to be able to fix the leaves, this curliness, but I can stop it from getting onto the new growth that's coming through at the top. So I'm going to swap it all over. See, that's how they should look, and this is how they're looking. Right, so let's crack on with that. Right, so there we go. So it's just on the opposite side. Now these on this side were sheltered by those big mamas over there. So now they're established. Hopefully these will get a bit more established, because they've gone long and gangly. That's because they're searching for like that. But at least the leaves aren't curled on them. So I'm going to give them a good water with tomato food now. Oh, look. The beef ones, beef tomatoes. And I'm going to give them a bit of a trim. They've got a bit bushy, so I'm going to take some of the branches out. And then I want to have a talk. I think it's time we chatted. Now I just want to have a little chat. So we're not getting any younger. Nobody is getting any younger. It's impossible. So I want to get a bit serious just for a minute. So I'm getting older now. I have osteoarthritis. So my aim in life is to stay as fit and healthy as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can. My mum was 85 when she died. If I can make it to 85, I'll be absolutely delighted. But I have health issues, mainly to do with my joints. So I try and keep active, like I just said. So I don't want to go off on a tangent about that. My daughter has autoimmune diseases. My daughter has lupus, which is, I'll have to read it, hang on. SLE it is. So it's systemic lupus erythematosus. And she was diagnosed with that when she was 20. So as you can imagine, it's quite traumatic when you've got a young girl that's got all of a sudden severe joint problems that are causing her really bad pain. She's also got vasculitis, which is a skin disorder as well. That if she goes in the sun, she gets like a purple rash, similar to that of a meningitis rash, where you rub, you can't, so if you rub it, it doesn't disappear, it's there, it's deep purple. And she's also got Sjogrens Syndrome as well, Sjogrens Syndrome, which is very similar to the symptoms of lupus. So these are autoimmune diseases. In the meantime, she has problems with her eyes. It causes extreme dry eyes and dry mouth. And so last year she had to have a full corneal transplant because her eye popped, basically. So it was horrific. You know, when I said last year was a tough one. Anyway, that's just about our health. So your health is the most important thing. without that, you've got nothing really in life. If you don't have good health, my view is you're putting yourself in an early grave if you don't look after yourself. And I'm not here to lecture, because obviously every single person, there's no cookie cutter in this, nobody's the same. Every single person in the whole world are different. We've all got different fingerprints. Most of us have got different DNA. Or is that the other way around for twins? I'm not sure. Is it the same DNA, different DNA? It's different DNA, isn't it, for twins, and the same fingerprints, I think, anyway. But yeah, the majority of us, 99% of us, are different. We all have different ways, and we all live our life differently as well. Everybody's got their own little bubble that they live in. So if you're a keen gardener like me, I started growing my own vegetables because as my mum deteriorated as she got older, then I felt that she needed more nutrients than what you get in cake, because that's all she ate was cake, and cream cake and trifle and more cake. So I started growing my own veg. I started off with tomatoes, so this is where we are with tomatoes. And then obviously my daughter became sick, so that was even more reason to start searching and looking for answers. Now, at the time when my daughter became sick, the internet was in its infancy, so you couldn't really Google lots and lots of stuff. So I had books and books and so many books, medical journals. I was getting anything I could get my hands on to find out about this lupus and how we could battle it and how we could get on and do it naturally, because I don't know whether you've got it already, but I can't stand drugs. Anything to do with drugs, pesticides. I don't even take paracetamol because I don't know what's in them. Do you know what's in them? I have no idea. But like I say, that's just me. I'm not here to lecture. So yeah, so my first research was obviously of what you're putting in your mouth. So what are you eating? What are you actually swallowing? And is there anything I can do to stop this illness that was making my daughter virtually bedridden, and she was struggling so much to live on a day-to-day basis? And what could I do to stop it from progressing and try and make it a little bit better and try and help her? So my first point of port of call was pesticides. So this brings me to a very touchy subject with a lot. I don't use any pesticides on my plot, on my vegetables, even on my flowers. I don't use anything at all. My garden is 100% organic. I've got lots and lots of insects. I have bad ones and good ones, but the good ones tend to outweigh the bad. I also have, as you've seen, lots of frogs, and last year I had hedgehogs. I had babies too late, and one of them died. I was heartbroken. So yeah, I've got a good bio level in my garden. I think it's probably spot on. I don't pull up all the weeds because I need some of those weeds for certain things to eat, like snails and slugs and stuff like that. I don't want to kill them. And some weeds produce beautiful little flowers, and I don't mind weeds as long as there's not too many. I just keep them under control. So going back to pesticides now, every year in your country, I don't know how they go on in places like India and in the Asian countries, but in the Western countries every year there is the government performs a random test on your supermarket foods, on your fresh foods, to see what substances are still present on your food that you're eating. Organic food in the UK is strictly governed, and it's got to fall under certain guidelines, but I do believe that they're still allowed to use some kind of pesticides. Anyway, strawberries came out top, so 91% of the strawberries that they tested from supermarkets in the UK contained, still had pesticide residue on them. And these pesticides are linked with all sorts of diseases that humans contract. So I'm going to run through just a couple of them, because there's a lot of gardeners out there that think that because it says organic on the label of pesticides, especially like for caterpillars and stuff like that, or worms as you call them in the US, you seem to think, a lot of these gardeners seem to think they're okay because it says organic on the bottle. But trust me, arsenic's organic. Would you eat it? No, you wouldn't. So cyanide is in so many things. Cyanide's in these leaves here. If you eat tomato leaves, they contain cyanide, and so do potato leaves, potato stalks contain cyanide. So they're poisonous. They're poisonous to us. But it's natural. They're natural. Would you eat them? Would you? No, you wouldn't. Right. So let me get to the point, and I'll explain a little bit about what pesticides are used in the UK and what gardeners use and what they're not supposed to use, because a lot of gardeners using pesticides in their allotment plots and in the gardens that they're not supposed to be using, that are not legal for gardeners. They're only legal for farmers because they're so they can cause so many problems with you as a person. So let me just show you this. Now, BT is one of the biggest pesticides used by allotment gardeners. And do you know that that is illegal? They are not permitted to use BT. Now, I'll pop the name up on the top for you, because I can't pronounce it. Hang on, I'll try and pronounce it. Let me find it. Wait a minute. Bacillus thuringiensis. Oh, it's a good job I'm not a scientist, isn't it? You can buy it on Amazon and you can get it delivered to any house in the UK, but it's not permitted. Shall I tell you why? It's used by farmers in the UK, but not by gardeners. It's not permitted to be used by gardeners for the simple reason is it causes gastrointestinal problems. So it can cause anything from, it's linked to, now I've read all the research and medical journals and some boring like that. And the scientists are linking this pesticide, which is on your food, to stomach problems, so digestive problems like IBS and gastric problems. So if you get like constant bloating, or you're getting diarrhea on a constant basis, or you're getting pains, stomach pains, gastroenteritis on a regular basis, and it's linked to all those. And there's lots of other pesticides that are linked to tumours, cancers. Now, there's no definite thing. If they were linked, and if there was a definite, yes, that caused that, then believe me, they'd probably well, I don't even know whether they would be banned, but I would have thought they would be banned completely. So I should imagine if they're really watered down and they're used really, really diluted on the crops in fields, then maybe they're not as harmful to humans. But using it in your garden, it's harmful. So do not, please, don't use pesticides in your garden on vegetables, especially if you know, the flowers. If you want to kill the biodiversity in your garden because you just grow flowers, then do you know what? Fill your boots and get on with it. That's not a drama, is it? Because you're not eating your flowers. But if you're growing vegetables, then you need to make sure that everything's pure on your allotment plot or in your garden. That's my view anyway. So anyway, what I did was, after doing all this research on pesticides and all the rest of it, I started growing my own stuff. And I've been growing stuff in my garden for a long time. Even though it's just a little bit I started with, and I'll grow quite a lot of stuff. When it gets to summer, I don't buy any salad whatsoever because it's all in my garden. Cucumbers and tomatoes and everything is grown at home. When it comes to winter veg, near enough all my winter veg comes from the allotment. Well, it did last year. I don't know whether I'll get any at all this year. But yeah, so my veg comes from the allotment and comes from my garden as well. Obviously I still buy veg from the supermarket. I try to buy organic veg when it's available, but you can't get organic in everything. But I do try my best, and then I always wash it thoroughly as well. But because of the diet that my daughter is on, it's helped massively. So she now doesn't take any drugs whatsoever, because there's no cure for autoimmune diseases. You've got to live with them all your life. You've got to get your head around it and work around it, and some are mild and some are severe and some need lots of drugs, and now my daughter is just on painkillers when she's really feeling bad. And obviously she's had loads and loads of medication since she had a corneal transplant, but that's for her eye. It's not actually for her lupus and a Sjogrens Syndrome. So we don't smoke, we don't drink, there's no alcohol, and no smoking. Don't take any drugs, and we eat lots and lots of fruit and vegetables. And although I only grow my own strawberries, so I have to buy all my fruit. It's all thoroughly washed, but there'll still be pesticide residue on there, and I'm aware of that. So I do the best I can by trying to cut it out. So if you are a new gardener and you're just setting out and you're just learning, the hardest thing to do is to start organic, and you'll suffer. So like, I go onto my plot and there's loads of gardeners on my plot that have got humongous vegetables in their plots with massive cabbages and everything looking absolutely beautiful and pristine. And mine are all like little, because they use pesticides and I don't. They use slug pellets and absolutely everything they can to kill off all the insects on their plots, and I don't use anything. That's my personal choice. So like I say, I'm not lecturing you. I also make everything from scratch as well. Cook everything from scratch, because if you've read on the packet, if you buy a loaf of bread, there's about 1,000 ingredients. What's all that about? Bread's just like flour, butter. I use honey, don't use sugar. Warm water, and maybe a bit of milk, but I don't use milk. I use oat milk because I'm lactose intolerant as well, just to add to it all. So why are all these emulsifiers and stabilizers give me migraines, by the way, as well. Yeah, so try and start living a cleaner life if you want to live a long, healthy life, to see your grandchildren and your children get old. Then the best you can do, I mean, you could get run over by a bus tomorrow, but you know what, you might not. And in 20, 30, 40 years, you could still be here watching your kids grow up and get old, and watching them get old with you. And how fantastic would that be? So just think about what you're eating, and it starts at ground level. So start thinking about what's going in your gut. Right, lecture over. So I have had some comments about people that want to know my name. So I never think that it's important, you know, my name, but I'll tell you anyway. It's Linda. So that's my name, and these are my vlogs, and this is my little journey. And if you like my content, then please subscribe, and like, and put a comment underneath. I like reading your comments. But yeah, anyway, so there's no lecture. I'm not trying to choose your life choices for you. I'm just hoping that you can see life a little bit from my point of view, from when you get older, and the effects that humans have on the planet. No, I'm not a tree hugger. I am a tree hugger. But yeah, other humans can have as a direct result by spraying pesticides on their vegetables, and then you eating them. And it's not good, is it? So think about what you're eating and do some proper research, and make sure you understand what's going in your mouth could be causing problems elsewhere in here. That's whether it's a fag or a cigarette for those in America, or it's or it's whiskey or a beer, or whether you're sniffing a bit of cocaine on the weekend, or whatever you're doing, that's poisoning you somewhere in your body. So you need, or even eating the wrong foods. So yeah, so that's it from my perspective. So you know where you are. Well, you know where I am now with my health and my daughter's health, and my passion behind me growing vegetables and growing everything myself and trying to be as sustainable as possible. I don't think I'll ever be 100% sustainable, but okay, so that's it for this one. There's Trevor snoring there. So I'll be on the allotment next. So I hope you haven't bored you too much with me waffling on about pesticides and stuff. But it's nice speaking to you, and you have a great week, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Bye.